Spielboys watching Stevie's movies. Spielboys watching Stevie's movies. Spielboys watching Stevie's movies. Spielboys.
That's right.
Yes,
We're back, baby.
we are.
Stevie's back.
Stevie's
and you know
back,
what that
too.
means, Tom.
I do. Abe, it's time for us to be little Spielboys.
Ooh, put our little Stevie hats on, our little directing hats.
Our little Stevie clogs.
This one's a doozy. So if you're from the future,
And you are, if you're listening to this.
you are in the future from when I'm saying this.
Don't
but
feel bad. No need to apologize. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
hey, you're all right. You're doing fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Mhm.
But it's 2026 where we are. And it was just the opening weekend of Disclosure Day. So whatever herald of the apocalypse has occurred since then, but we're talking
Has
Disclosure
not
Day.
yet struck us down.
Struck us down. And we're talking Stevie's little side project where he's like, hey guys, do you know that there's aliens?
What if aliens?
I believe.
He's quoting the Lost Boys sax player. I still believe.
Because he's old and he spent $115 million on it. But it made it back in the opening weekend, technically.
Disclosure Day.
We're hot off the presses.
Mm-hmm. I just saw it yesterday.
You saw it yesterday?
I just saw it
on
yesterday.
Tuesday. Nice. Yeah, and how was the theater experience for you?
It was pretty full.
Nice. Nice.
Mostly olds.
Yeah, it was mostly,
Old heads like myself.
millennial era.
And older, yeah.
And older. But I was just telling off Mike, I saw a kid wearing a Green Day Dookie t-shirt, and I was like, I don't even know what to make of that. Because they were like 15 years old. I was like, I'm too fucking old to understand.
Just transform into Tim Robinson.
Yeah, exactly. And but it was full. It was packed. I was sitting next to people. I
Sweet.
heard someone fart at some point, and I was like,
it's what Stevie wants, man. He wants you to be cheek to cheek, feeling other people's rips, feeling strangers' rips.
feeling the wind between their cheeks.
Yeah.
Just really ripping it and having a good time. Stevie's made the blockbusters. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, newcomer, and of course Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo, yeah.
Yeah, he gets like the big speech. Let's dip into it.
He's been killing it, obviously, and he's really kind of very tailor-made for a Spielberg movie like this, I think, Coleman Domingo.
He's wholesome as hell.
Yeah, he can be.
Yeah, he can be. That's right. But yeah, let's go into our first kind of procedure here. Our first uncovering of the lost files.
Our first disclosure.
Our first disclosure. Amblin Man.
So, again, future heads. That's actually a band. So if they're listening,
we're
but
talking
also
directly to you. Yeah.
people in the future. This was released on June 12th, 2026. At this time, Steven Spielberg is 79 years old.
That is old.
This is his 35th.
It's not Coppola old.
Not
It's
Coppola
not Ridley
old.
Scott
And it's not
old.
Ridley Scott old, who's still fucking making movies. It's also not John
Dude.
Williams old, which we'll talk about in a later section,
Yeah, we
I guess.
will.
But yeah, Ridley Scott's in his goddamn 90s, and he's still cranking out a movie a year. Like, Christ
He's
almighty,
like, I'm planning
dude.
another 5. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Ridley!
He's like, you can't rip it from my cold dead hands.
Yeah. Death is going to have to find me.
Yeah, I will be a camera in hand.
I'll be in the pyramids filming Napoleon II.
Yeah. So old as fuck.
Yeah, so there's been some talk in the press around this movie. We were talking a bit off mic about how it's releasing, around the time of a lot of other big, not big, specifically small, independent original films from new filmmakers are having huge, huge summers, like Obsession and Backrooms. And it's sort of kind of like the new wave of people like Spielberg was. That's been part of it. And also, it's been a lot of discussion over whether this is going to be Stevie's last movie. This very likely could be his last film. I don't know if he has any specifically planned in production right now. But so I was wondering, how important is that? Like, does it? I mean, let me fully articulate that thought.
Okay.
Because does it matter whether or not this specific movie, Disclosure Day, ends up being his last movie? Because it's not really his final statement. You know what I mean? Like, the final works of most artists are just kind of happens to be whatever it is they happen to be working on when they pass.
Yeah.
For a lot of artists.
AI, for example.
For example, and I had a list of, because a couple of people that Spielberg always cites as major influences on him, like Alfred Hitchcock, his last movie is Family Plot, which is a fine movie. It was a well-reviewed movie, but it's kind of like a black comedy. It's kind of like, it's an atypical Hitchcock movie. It's kind of like, it's sort of like a forgotten Hitchcock movie almost. Like Kubrick's, technically his final movie is AI, but actually technically his final movie is Eyes Wide Shut. I guess it's how you want to use the word technically. But anyway, Kubrick's last movie was either Eyes Wide Shut or AI, which are, Eyes Wide Shut was a touchstone for a while, but it doesn't have, like, it wasn't like his final statement on anything. Like, it didn't.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone knows when they're gonna die.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's like we don't hang additional significance as time has passed on Eyes Wide Shut. Well, you do and you don't. And like, anyway, like, I feel like we already have, because like I feel like Fabelmans and West Side Story serve as like really good, like,
going back to the beginning, like, talking about himself, talking about like where he can't, like, because West Side Story, if you watched it, it really is a love story to his, like, I never truly did a musical, and also this is like one of the first like plays that I was like really into. So it's like, it does feel like he had a phase. I know what you're saying, because it's like there was a chunk of movie that it was like you're getting playful and like childlike again, which is, it's not that you have you're not Benjamin Button, but like we do that to our, like, I think collectively society kind of conceives of that with the elderly, with like, when you're at the end of your road, you remark about the beginning of the road, you Bilbo Baggins that shit and write it down,
because you can finally see the totality of your life.
It's so like, we want that wisdom. And it's funny because, especially in the years of a lot of these old heads, where last year we had like Francis Ford Coppola and stuff like that, and what we thought was Ridley Scott's last film, but frankly, he's immortal. He's never gonna die.
He's never gonna stop.
God, I hate saying that about people who are like really old as fuck, because I just know that as soon as this comes out, someone's listening to this in a world that Ridley Scott is dead. But from our perspective, he's 800 years old, making like,
still cranking
I'm
him out.
Starting a trilogy kind of energy. But anyway, because I was thinking about, maybe it's because we covered Network recently, or we recorded a episode on Sidney Lumet's Network.
Great movie.
And his last film was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which is like 2007. He died in 2011. And I'm like, dude, that might be one, like, he has an insane track record, right? The movies he's made, he's one of my favorite filmmakers, hands down. But that film in particular is like a serious banger. That one is one of the greatest films he's made. And that was made like 4 years prior to his death. Again, I hope we're not saying this about Stevie. I think he could have another one in him, but as you're mentioning, kind of like, we're definitely at the tail end. He's definitely old. He doesn't need to make movies or direct movies anymore. We see this out of like middle-aged directors now. Like J.J. Abrams, who was like a Spielberg type, is like already like officially said, like, I don't really want to make movies anymore. I'll just produce. Why? It's not that I don't love it. It's really hard.
And it takes over your entire life for years.
Yeah. And I think there's a sense that filmmaking is hard. and Stevie is older. It's funny because I do want to hear your thoughts on as we get into it.
Of course, yeah.
How this feels old, because we've talked in the past about, like, you know, Gladiator 2 and stuff like that, like how older filmmakers make it easy for themselves by not having to like huff it up a mountain and stuff. So there's ways in which the filmmaking is affected. I didn't feel that as much in this movie. There's some tense moments, but it's true that him and Kep, the writer of the thing, were like, we're gonna do a thing, but mostly it's gonna be people in rooms talking.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We have a couple ideas we want to talk about.
Let's get a Bridge of Spies going. You know,
right? It felt much more small. It felt smaller. It felt like kind of a North by Northwest sort of chase movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, ultimately, I wanted to pose that question, like how, because I feel like he sort of has a couple of movies that already serve as sort of artistic swan songs for him. If you wanted to look like, well, I feel like this is him making a statement about his entire life and career. Like we have those, I think.
We have those now.
This kind of feels like just another Spielberg movie. It's something he's musing about. And I think what it's about does seem to be also a good summary of kind of what he believes in and kind of the messages he's sort of been pushing in his movies for his whole life. But like,
he's just showing us his YouTube, like, watch later playlist. He's like, guys,
what about this one?
I've been watching this footage. And obviously there's a lot of nonsense. I've seen some TikTok videos and stuff like that are, I don't know if it's nonsense, but I'm just like, people trying to design conspiracy out of this film. They're like, Spielberg's always been a psyop, dude. He's always been like, second they became popular, he's there for the government. So they're soft releasing aliens by like making us acclimated to it, and that's what this whole
point is.
And I'm just like, all right. Do you think Jurassic Park was soft releasing dinosaurs? Because that shit would be awesome.
Even more. I'm more disappointed in that for a different reason that I guess we'll get to.
Yeah, no, it's embarrassing what we've said about this movie publicly. Not me. I mean, the world. The disclosure of the world. Well, I want to talk about the film proper, but do you have any other statements you want to...
that was kind of it. Yeah, I think this... Anyway.
We all know where we're at.
Posed the question. We talked about it for a sec. We can
we'll probably... like Stevie does in Fabelmans, go back to it at the end.
John Ford, that was the other one, because he has John Ford at the very end. His last movie was a made-for-TV documentary called Chesty.
Wait, what? I haven't seen Chesty. What's Chesty about?
He's a deceptive title. It's about a Marine Corps general.
With huge naturals.
Yeah. Narrated by John Wayne. But before that, it's an exploitation movie called Seven Women. Starring, I think, Anne Bancroft, I think, is in it.
No. Yeah, now I know it. Now I realize what you're... Yeah.
But it's kind of like...
Yeah, that's like a weird...
Not like the best regarded movie.
It's not... Yeah, he was just like, I don't know, taking a paycheck or whatever, which I guess is all we're ever doing anyway. Yeah, but like, it does feel weird for John Ford just because it's like, well, you're a monumental Western director and, you know, like, you flirted with these other genres, but made for TV...
Yeah.
It might be the swan song of Stevie that his last film is a made-for-TV movie just because, streaming and all that.
That's true, yeah. The landscape has definitely changed.
But it feels always weird with him because he is monumental in designing, essentially, the modern blockbuster and how we see movies.
He shaped pop culture, like in... Undeniably. For like 2 decades, he was... a big shaper of a lot of pop culture.
So let's open up the hood. Disclosure Day. What's it all about? We talk about...
What's it about?
We're going to enter a section called You're Doing It, Stevie. Okay, so here's what I want to do, because I think there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of... I actually watched on the Sister Network. I always call it the Sister Network. I don't know why, but it's just Tom and Dave, we did a swap thing because you and me do Spielboys.
We do.
And on Monday, they released you guys, Gamefully Unemployed, released a Dave and Michael Swaim episode. So if you're in the know, you've probably listened to that episode.
Yeah, we did.
And
we
heard
just
their
watched.
thoughts about it. And it's not that I want to directly react to it or like double down or anything like that, but I'm just like, there's a lot of conversation about this movie culturally right now, which is more relevant and atypical for Spielboys as a podcast because we're talking about Jaws, so there's no real conversation to have other than what we want to have. But I feel like
there's some
right
conflicts represented in Jaws that are still relevant.
Absolutely. But this is like so timely and topical that I'm like, I want to spend the chunk of most of this time talking about like people's reaction to the film, how we felt, how it's been designed. So I want to keep this synopsis shortish.
Also, it's kind of tough for us to do this the way we would normally do this because this movie's still in theaters as we're recording. So
I don't
normally
have my
we give a
laptop.
pretty exhaustive scene by scene recap, which is
so
where we can pause and shit, but that's not really available to us right now.
Right. Spoilers from here on in, but we're not going to do like basically I'm going to give a log line, which is that guess what? Aliens exist. They are the Greys, as you'd expect. We have a film that basically
Could
rolls
be
us.
the aliens from Indy 4. Anyway.
Yeah, they could have some crystal skulls up in there. I want to get at them. Give me the crystal skull, you fuck. But yeah, so they came down and they were like, okay, we need to do a release to the humanity. So we're going to go we've been here for like 70 years. And this is something that Stevie has said publicly. I believe this. There's just undeniable, photographic evidence that like there's other things out there. But they came here. They've been here for a while, and they chose about 2 decades ago to supplant in the memories and I guess genetics of 2 children, a boy and a girl, some superpowers, so that they're the release of the disclosure of the existence of aliens can combat the human desire to like keep that
to control
silent, to control it, to allow that to be alleviated, to make it a positive experience for the people who are watching it, stuff like that. So ultimately, we watch as a it's not the FBI, but a governmental agency designed for this purpose. I believe they're called the Wardex, and they're privatized, which I thought was interesting or of note. They have a CEO and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like they're like a tech defense type
agency.
Thing.
Yeah, they're
like a tech
BlackRock in it.
Yeah.
And we're on the brink of World War III, and we just follow these 2 as they're psychically connected, mainly Emily Blunt. She can scry into fucking anything. She's godlike. I got Lucy vibes. You remember the film Lucy?
I do.
By the sun. Yeah, it's there's moments where it's magic.
She's definitely using 100% of her brain.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Josh Connor is like, I can speak their language. I know math. They gave me math, the power of math. So now, because their entire language is based off math, I can speak it to a fluent degree. In any case, they keep escaping Colin Firth's, clutches. He also has artifacts that come from this, extraterrestrial world that allows him to also scry into their whereabouts. And it's just a big chase sequence. It's over the span of 2 days and ultimately culminates in the release of all said information to the public via a local network affiliate, which is, as people have said online, laughably boomer, almost ignoring the idea that the internet exists. A lot of people have tossed some flames at Act 3 in particular, because there's this kind of old world thought where it's like, and then the entire world will pause and look at their phones. And it's like, you're not cued into the world at all. That's not how the world will work. And there's all that stuff. I do want to talk about it. I don't want to, but ultimately, yeah, that's the film. That's the
Pretty
idea
much
behind it. We'll definitely unpack specific scenes, and obviously I didn't talk about any of the themes involved or execution therein. But yeah, how did you like this movie, Tom?
I liked it fine. I thought I mostly enjoyed it. I thought it's kind of dull in Act 2. It
Act
switches.
2 wasn't the one I didn't think Act 2 was bad. I thought Act 3 was, if anything, was the problem.
that's the flimsiest one. Yeah, for sure is the third one.
But you're like, Act 2,
by that point,
you're
expecting
more.
Yeah, you want to see what it is at that point.
Especially
but
Spielberg. He's known for like, Act 2, fuck. Like,
yeah,
most films hum and ha, he's fucking killing it. So it does feel.
Yeah, it swaps. Like, it starts with Josh O'Connor and Eve Hewson, I think is her name.
Hewson, yeah.
For a bit, she's a nun, and he drops her off at a nunnery. Colin Firth possesses her a few times. But then once he meets up with Emily Blunt, Eve Hewson just drops out of the movie, and then the chase resumes, except now it's Josh O'Connor with this new female lead who he hasn't spent any time with. So it sort of kills the momentum of his story.
Yeah.
Like this, like, I feel like this, I don't know. This is a weird one. This is a weird one.
It's a messy film.
It's
people,
yeah. I dug the theme. I like what I agree with his overall message. And I thought it was like my experience when we covered War of the Worlds, rewatching War of the Worlds. It was more pointed than I expected it to be, although I still think it's not as. I still think it chickens out. But
there's like a hesitance to like stick the landing, or rather going for like the emotional. I think Act 3 has the thing where he's like, I want it to be a big positive, like, Spielberg moment.
Well, yeah, he's talking
and
what he's talking
the work we had to do to get there with all the intrigue and the espionage. It's like, you just did Catch Me If You Can in terms of like tone and pace. Catch Me If You Can doesn't have an ending where it's like, and everyone was like free, like, it's not a great ending. And so this has to do a lot of legwork to be like, oh, in order, like, the bad guy just gives up,
yeah.
Like,
he's like, ugh, and walks out.
All these people who have like been told your job is to do this, don't shoot at the person when you're like, they clearly are intending to shoot them, and they just don't. And it's convenience, death. If the death knell of this film exists, which I'm not saying it does. In fact, I'm about to say some good statements about it. But if it is, it's the writing, I think, is convenient. And I'm not going to put that all at Stevie. Obviously, he did originate the idea.
He wrote like a 40 or 50 page treatment.
Correct. But Cap obviously is doing beat by beat, kind of like, here's how it works.
We'll get into it. He did a crazy number of drafts.
Yeah, which is insane for Cap, because Cap is like he's written.
He's a pro. He's
written everything.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, fuck. So yeah. The thing I wanted to say though, that I really like about this film, and maybe I'm in, the honeymoon phase of it, is this might be one of the best Act 1s of Spielberg's career. Like, it really shows off how he knows to get, like, did you not feel when you sat down and you saw the opening scene and you're like, oh fuck, we're like being thrown into
we're already moving. Yeah.
And then Emily Blunt's performance as she is getting this catastrophic download of alien lore and powers, as she is dealing with that with notably White Russell, who is also fucking hilarious in this.
Yeah, they have fun scenes.
Yeah, they have scenes where they we got to get rid of the phone, and they throw the phone out, and then they miss running it over and stuff.
Sorry to interrupt you. Their stuff really reminded me of like Sugarland Express.
Yeah, exactly. It's like lived in, almost like No Country for Old Men, the relationship between the couple there, where it's just like, you gave me 2 sentences, and I know who the fuck everyone is. Like, I know their relationship. I know exactly how they talk. I know how they fuck, honestly. Like, it's that kind of thing. And they bring it. And I don't know. For the first 30 minutes of this film, I was like,
I was really stoked. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this.
I'm like, he's back. He's back.
Especially because, like, as much as I try to avoid it, and I only watch like one trailer and all that stuff, I was like, I did get infected by, like, my feed would throw me like people being like, I don't know about a disclosure day, and so I was like, oh, it's not going to be good. Like, I was kind of let down because I thought that if you look amongst the kind of influencer culture right now, they're not positive on this movie.
I saw a couple of tut.
Yeah, and I'm like,
headlines.
It's not that they don't have points. I'm not citing any specific notion at all. But if you haven't seen this film, I don't know why you're listening to this, but if you sit down and watch it, I don't know. I think that there was a moment where I was like, movies are fucking back, dude. I was like, this is fucking ripping right now. And I as I get older, I don't find I see that from a lot of movies. Maybe it's my pessimism and crotchetiness.
Well, Dave and I watch a bunch. I mean, I know you guys do too. But I know we at least watch one new release each week. So it does have, like, I do see movies that, like, sort of take me by surprise the way the Act 1 here did. And this is a Spielberg movie, so I'm coming in here expecting to like it. But I was sort of prepped a little bit too by hearing that I hadn't listened to Dave and Mike's episode, and I still haven't, but Dave sort of let slip that he was kind of a little lukewarm on it. And I had seen just headlines of people being a little lukewarm, specifically about what Spielberg is saying about the role of human empathy.
In the Coleman Domingo empathy speech is clutch.
But I agree with it. Like, I think he's right. And I think I think it's proven to be true throughout all of human history. I think the fact that we all gather around saying yay or nay or praising or tut-tutting this same movie is proof that human empathy is the most important thing that connects us all.
That connects us all. And and just as a refresher, if it's been a while since you've seen this, Coleman Domingo at one point says, evolutionarily, empathy is the thing that separates us from the animals. Like, and
that's correct.
Yeah, we are.
I believe.
So any stifling of empathy, any willful ignorance of you and I are connected, anything like that, war, all that stuff, just box it up. I know it's boomer, but like all that stuff, really truly think about it. If you ignore that, you will die. It's been proven, civilization after civilization, species after species. Like, it is a biological imperative that you care for others.
Yep.
Because otherwise you're going to die. That's just how cruel and indifferent the cold world is. And
humans are social creatures by nature.
That is that's a banger. That's a great speech. Coleman Domingo, as you mentioned, fucking kills it. And it's kind of the theme, the set piece of the movie.
Yeah, but anyway,
ultimately.
What I was saying is I do get pleasantly surprised like this. Like, oh, movies are back every so often with like a movie that just kind of comes out of nowhere with being super original or surprising or exciting in some way. And I definitely got, like, Act 1 of this was definitely, oh, fuck. Like, pretty much all the way up in through the train, I was like, fuck, yeah, we're back.
Yeah. I actually like the train.
No, I like the train too. I said through the train. I think it's once they're on the train and it becomes like the story becomes completely clear that it has now shifted to a narrative about Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt, and we're over an hour into the movie. it really killed the momentum for me right there. But like up to the train,
you know what
it's
that
like,
reminds me of?
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? There's a film that was actually a like Act 1 and 2 were really fucking good. And then Act 3 I was like, what the fuck did they do to their movie? Do you remember the Will
Super Mario
Smith
Galaxy
movie Hancock?
I never saw Hancock.
Okay,
but
never mind.
I know it though. I know what the story
You know what
is.
happens
I know what the third act turn is.
Because like they do like it's this feeling that you have this expectation that there's gonna be a like there's everything's coming to a head, right? We've been designed and taught, as you know, I parrot all the time the Hitchcock statement that he's like, I don't want to make films 100 years from now because everyone will know my tricks. We are so meta, and this is kind of the conversation I wanted to have about like the response to this movie. But ultimately, just to finish the thought, there are movies that like build this expectation, and because we are postmodern babies, all of us, of all ages, we have now seen all of like what movies quote have to offer. Even Swaim and Dave had this kind of vibe in their podcast. They were like, I don't know, I've just kind of seen it all, and I'm just like, you know, like that's not, you know, like that's not their fault. But ultimately, like there's these movies that have this expectation, and then when they zag, you know, it's like, oh, I don't like it. And I think this movie has that because we have like this expectation that like calling for like someone's going to die, right? Like someone is definitely, this is going to have weight, this interaction, this culmination, this climax. And then it just kind of yadas it out, right? Emily Blunt is just a magic, you know.
Right. She's so magic. You just can't.
No one can threaten her anymore. So the stakes are gone there. Our villain basically all but gives up and says, this is God, so I can't fight God. So what's the point? And all of the worker bees are like, yeah, I guess if Dad says that we're not going to try to kill these, you know, fuckers.
Well, so Stickman gets mad and storms out with his men to the point where I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be one of those situations where like the second in command is actually the big bad.
Yeah,
like he's going to come back mad and be like, no, I'm going to shoot this alien. But no, he just storms out and we don't see him again. And I get that, though, because that's what Spielberg wanted to say. Spielberg wanted to say that this movie is anti-violence, right? This is a movie about Gaza, right?
Yeah.
This is a movie about Gaza.
There we go.
And he's not saying it. Nobody's saying it that I've seen.
I haven't seen this, but
it's
like pretty clear to me.
But like, it's weird in the movie. All of the images that we are looking at, the images that they see that get people upset, are all of the images of alien genocide. The thing that's being covered up is 70 years of alien genocide that the government's denied the existence of. It's been stealing from the aliens, taking their stuff, denying their existence, denying the existence of this genocide. And the movie never points out that the images are violent. It never says they're torture. It never says they're captive aliens. They're being tortured to death or killed or anything. It just, the only thing it ever says is this video of interrogation, but it's very clear that that's what we're looking at. And then we're seeing the reactions of the characters are horrified. So we're meant to make this connection. He just never has anyone say it.
I'm so glad I'm so glad you're saying this because I've heard no one say this.
It's right.
And it's like so obvious to me. And that's why I wanted to talk about the social media kind of response to this film, because I think it is a media literacy problem, honestly.
It is. Because the entire world did fucking stop and look at their phones when TikTok was rolling out. Look at what the fuck is happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
Everyone stopped and looked at that shit. Yes.
Look at these cretins who are gatekeeping information from you so they can stay in power. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because... No. We all get riled up, dude.
But it is very Aaron Sorkin, yeah.
Yesterday, the Iran deal, like, went through. Yeah, so we were, like, riled up.
Yeah, we're all heated.
But I'm glad you mentioned it because that's one thing the social media machine has kind of given me, and this might be a single experience for me, but they talk about the lack of explanation or the lack of a lore dump in a sci-fi film feels weird. And they're like, I think they fucked this up because, like, how does the fucking magic wand work? How
it
does
doesn't
like
fucking matter.
Yeah, why are some of the aliens tiny, but the one at the end is big? And
Oh,
all this
holy
stuff.
shit. Okay, man.
And I'm just like, dude,
why are some
okay.
human beings tiny and some are big?
Yeah. Like, why do you think that they obey our rules?
There is an obsession with lore that I think is
There's
bad.
an obsession with fandom and lore
But-
where they need to understand everything and everything goes into the little boxes. That's a media literacy problem for sure.
Yeah.
But they think it's a bug, and I think it's a feature because the lack of explanation and the lore dumping that's happening, the fact that he's obscuring all these details is intentional to me because of exactly what you just said. Because it's like, you don't need to know information about, in order for disclosure to occur, and in order for the empathy to occur, because that's how empathy happens, disclosing, like being vulnerable in front of someone, giving information. In order for that to happen, you don't need to fucking understand. You just need to sit with them in their plight and understand that they are going through suffering, right? You don't need to understand what the ins and outs are. I mean, some of that detail is obviously relevant, if they've been killing people or whatever.
This is not a perfect movie, and there are definitely script problems, I think. Anyway, sorry, continue.
But just like, it's an analog for, it's both what you said.
It's an analog for having empathy for
obviously, yeah. And at the same time, it's trying to do an analog for God. So the God replacer, and the fear that there's no room in the human mind or spirit for the unknowable, that's a big conversation in this. Like, we have a phone call from an ex-nun to a real, like a still nun, that is like, hey, let's say you knew that like a God exists, would that stop your faith? And she's like, no, why would it?
Yeah, I'm a nun.
Like
pretty
the whole
secure
point
in
of
my
God,
faith.
the whole point of God is that I just accept that there's things that are unknowable. So how is more unknowable things or things that I don't understand going to shake that faith? And this movie is basically saying, yes, we can take it. And the way disclosing or offering vulnerability is the way through it. So it is like a God parable, but also we obscure information and here's what's wrong with humanity kind of movie. And I just think that the lack of explanation by this movie, the lack of lore, that's a feature, man. That's the
part of what it's trying to say. Yeah,
it's trying to say I'm gatekeeping information from you because you are unknowingly being gatekeeped from anyway.
I know,
and you don't need to know all the information in order to come to the right solution here.
I know you're big on Speaker for the Dead.
Yeah. I love
and that's
that.
It's like a almost identical idea, right?
Yeah.
Like they're these completely unknowable bug husk creatures, but it's like
these weird apes.
Yeah. The whole point of it is no, it doesn't. Anyway, but I totally I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like, and this is something that like because I'm like citing like I think 1955. Like when we go back to sci-fi, obviously aliens have been thought of for 100, 200 years at this point. But like just the concept of the day the Earth stood still, and then we have E.T., we have Close Encounters, but we also have things like Alien. Like we have a polar choice with most alien movies. They're gonna kill us, or they're our friends, Yeah. And Spielberg has always been, even in War of the Worlds, it's like, it feels like, they are kind of trying to kill us, but also they misunderstand. Like that's always Spielberg's kind of knee-jerk reaction, is not just the anti-violence, but also we don't have to be at each other's throats. The best version of us is not fear, Yeah. And I think that this is obviously because of the, E.T., Close Encounters, War of the Worlds, there's kind of a soft trilogy in there probably of the positive viewpoint of aliens, like,
I think,
these guys are they're going to help us probably.
They must, and they represent the times, I'm sure. Like I'd love to go back and, I know we covered them all, but I'd love to sit back and watch them like sequentially to really think about them, like Close Encounters and then War of the Worlds and this, because they're also about the I mean, we talked a lot about how War of the Worlds is a war on terror movie. It's a post 9/11 movie, like for sure.
Yeah.
And Close Encounters is sort of like, it comes from a similar, well, not a similar era, but like, I mean, a different era, but it was with a similar distrust in the government, but it came from a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still like this. It's the sort of the presence of outside forces is depicted very differently in both movies. I don't know, and then compare it to this one. I really want to watch all three of those. Yeah, in sequence
No, it
and see how
feels
they
like
compare.
there's like a hidden like through line. And
he does have him hide in a piano car in this one, which made me think of Close Encounters.
Yeah. There's also, did you notice that the three tones that at one point Josh O'Connor is pressing his phone, and the tones he does like three, and then he pauses, and the first three, those tones are the Close Encounter tones.
Oh yeah, I missed it.
But I did expect.
I was expecting a louder one.
Yeah, I people were saying how all this reveal where there's like they cart out this fucking ancient alien at the
alien
end,
in his oxygen
and
tent,
he's got like
Pope tent.
double cocoon where they have to like open one net and then they have to open a little dome they have around cocoon. Just his face. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? What is this? Spielberg and Cap kind of have. I think they're done with like the concept of evil based off the last several films.
Spielberg is too sentimental. I don't think he's never
really done it. I mean, Schindler's List.
He has. He had. Obviously, I immediately thought of Ray Fiennes
Amistad.
Because that's the I mean, Amistad. But like Ray Fiennes' character in Schindler's List is interesting in that he presents a guy who's evil, who gets like momentarily seduced by the idea of being like good.
Yeah.
That's an interesting character, but it's still another expression of
empathy
evil.
it's sympathy for the devil, right?
Yeah, but I think he's such a sentimental guy that he doesn't like to build. Like, I think I don't want to put words in the man's mouth, but like I feel like he would ideally hope that a person even as bad as like that Ray Fiennes could be reached somehow, and that's kind of what he's saying.
Yeah,
with this movie is that if you can
kind of a centrist opinion, so it's not very popular or progressive right now. Very much
it is
true.
And it is, but it's I don't know that it's a like because like I said, I think it's correct that I do believe that empathy is what will solve any problem. Like we're talking about, like disclosure. It's about being completely vulnerable, but that's also. It's when we want to be when we are most offensive, but it's also when we need to be. Anyway, it's the answer is being vulnerable and open to others and understanding and being empathetic and communicating with others.
Yeah. The whole conversation about this. Oh yeah, finish.
But anyway, but like, so, but I think like in order for his metaphor to totally work, like where it kind of pegged me, like where I'll fault him for it is it sort of requires you to have been ignorant of the apartheid in Gaza for 70 years, and Spielberg made Munich.
Yeah.
So it's like I mean, I know that perhaps like what he's saying is it's undeniable that the extremity, I guess, of the apartheid in Gaza was being suppressed in American media, and still is right now. I mean, so the idea that blowing the lid off of that was a huge disclosure day for the entire world, because a lot of that was being suppressed in Western media. However, in order for his metaphor to totally work, it means that the world has to have been completely ignorant of it, and it just simply wasn't. Yeah, so I can see why people taking to task over that.
And the other assumption here is that that people don't like, I think, is that it almost is woefully ignorant or does not present bad faith acting. Yes. Everyone is good faith. It's just they don't have the right information, man. And if you just gave the truth, once the truth comes out, everyone's going to fall in line and be like, yep, We're going to do the right thing collectively as a whole. And obviously we have had, I don't know, since humans but have existed, but obviously for the last 20 years, the vibe is not that. The idea of so Spielberg is an artist who's, like any artist, a great curator of a playlist. He's trying to say his thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to say, here's how I perceive the world. And there's one very consistent thing with Spielberg, which is why I think he was so accepted and relatable throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, especially, is just the idea that he presents the best version of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
He wants us to look deep and see why we are how we can be our best, and what situations where we can be our best when it's tough. I still cry when I watch Schindler's List in that scene where he's like, I could have saved one more. That's obviously the presentation of, look how positive the world can be. And that's not the vibe right now, because we have tried that time and time again. We've knocked on the door of truth for so long. And it feels like even when you present the reality to people, some people just don't want to do it. They just don't want to accept that truth, and they don't want to see the power of that truth. And that lack of awareness, or at least the lack of the portrayal in this film of that kind of impetus, feels like you've been living under a rock for 20 years, or you haven't seen the internet, because it's like so clearly that's what's happening under, like, not even counterculture at this point. This is just basic Reddit comments, where you go like, oh yeah, no, everyone hates what's going on. And it's just like, again, woefully ignorant, seems to be woefully ignorant of that fact. So I understand why they're like, this is not suited for this time. And this is as boomer as fuck, and that's why when Colin Firth gives up and all these kind of like, he doesn't want to talk about evil. He never did, though.
Not really.
Yeah.
Only as Nazis, really.
Really only the Nazi parts.
Yeah, it's
and the slavery parts.
Right,
Yeah.
stuff where it's very binary. It's very black and white. What is? Well, I mean, and he's dealt with. We've talked a lot about Spielberg in The Gray, actually, but he never likes to make definite moral statements on that, I suppose.
Yeah, no, he's by design, he is the block, but
he's
like he's the go-to centrist, right?
Yeah,
like he's there for
filmmaker,
wasp
rather,
culture. Yeah. Which is so funny, because he always, like we talked about many times in this podcast, he sees himself as an outsider in that world. A boy of Jewish faith who kind of, origin kind of comes into this, wasp culture of America, and like it buys into it, but was never truly accepted. And like he did all this stuff. He felt like an outsider. Think about Amblin, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen the short film Amblin, he is like, here's this counterculture 60s thing. I'm not that. I'm not like, smoking weed and fucking just hanging out and free love, man. He's like, I'm a business guy with a suit on, trying to make some movies, baby. And that's the character he chose. And all of his man-child characters throughout his career are all people who are like, he's over that. He's been over that for 20 years, like the man-child stuff.
Yeah.
But because he's an elderly man now,
right.
He's like,
aged out of that phase of his life.
Yeah, I don't need to talk about that anymore. So now what has kind of replaced it is just this kind of, I think from our viewpoint, the stagnant kind of, some people may even see it as like the holier than thou, or, just this concept that, everything's going to be all right.
That's really interesting that somebody would take. See, that reminds me of like the sort of rage that'll happen. Like there was that famous, or that post that went viral of some person just talking about how she loved starting every day by sitting out on the porch and having a cup of coffee with her husband or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
yeah,
somebody responded like with a "how dare you" for like people who don't have porches or husbands or coffee or something. And it's like calling a movie with a message like this holier than thou is so interesting to me because this movie's message is care about other people.
Yeah,
Like the
I
movie's
think it's
message
just
is listen to other people and care about them. Like at the end of the day, like that's kind of what it's about. But I
yeah.
get that. I get the complaint that like it
We
doesn't
should be
address
angrier. You know?
bad faith actors.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't. Everyone's a good guy.
well, everybody is sort of disarmed by Emily Blunt, I guess, is more.
Yeah, that's the other thing about the lore dump is a lot of people are real pissed about how is she controlling all these people? Like,
She's just
what
reading their
about that guy
minds.
in the corner? Like, No, she's a god. Do you not understand what she is influencing? I think psychologically all of these people just by her presence. You know,
Mhm.
there's a psionic relationship. That's my take. Now, I may be giving the film more credit than it deserves in terms of like I'm doing that work for it, but like my point is that that's not the point.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to is that in my opinion, and I think this is proven out to be true, it's just we're all angry right now because we're living through extreme oppression and propaganda and
Of course.
violence and all this stuff. But most people are not bad faith actors.
Yeah, and that's what he's trying to
And
appeal
that's what
to.
he's saying.
And that message is tired to us now in this world. I understand. We like how many times can we say, "Oh, well, there's some bad apples," and it's just like get fucked. You know, like there are systemic problems here we need to solve and
Yes.
together. So read the room, Spielberg. I I guess no, you're not wrong to be angry. No one is wrong here about these
No, nobody
thoughts.
is wrong to be
It's not
angry.
attuned to the times. It is boomer. Let's lob all these things at him. But at the same time, and I'm not saying, again, I'm taking Stevie's little wisdom here. I'm not going to assume people are bad actors, all these influencers and, like people talking about Disclosure Day in this way. I'm not saying that they are trying to, lampoon or assassinate the cred of this kind of thought. They're not bad faith actors. They're just, I think, for the most part, trying to find out exactly how to navigate the space. And they're just not. Cardinal North is tough. It gets tougher every day. And I understand. We should be angry. We should watch angry movies because until things have changed, what the fuck are we doing? Stevie was never this. That was never Stevie. Like he was never there to inflict real change other than to have empathy. His statement has always been consistent. And that's all I wanted to remind people is that
Also
rewatch Close Encounters and tell me what that's fucking about.
rewatch Schindler's List.
Yeah, tell me what
the fuck that's about. Like not every movie has to be every movie too.
Also true.
Like not every movie has to address and answer every problem of the time.
Right. But we are getting into the weeds in terms of like we're lobbying defenses against fictional arguments that no one's necessarily having in front of us. But I did want to say that I really like the opening of this movie too.
Yeah, Act 1 cooks.
Act 1 cooks. I said that, but also like actually physically we start. So the framing is we start with a POV, which I guess, empathy, of a wrestler getting his ass kicked. He gets thrown over the ropes. He gets fucking pile driven across the world. And we're watching this, and then we're like, "What the fuck is
the fucking world
from parts unknown?" And then we cut to Josh O'Connor, who's doing this, deal with the CIA or whatever, or with with Wardex. But like, it's, I think that there's a reason that we've been kind of dancing around and talking about all this stuff. That's the opening image. Is it's like bludgeoning you in the face with violence, and we're talking about this other fucking thing. Like we have our own situation we have to deal with.
Cover
The
up this
violence
thing
in
that's
front of
happening,
us is both like a loose reminder that America's obsessed with this kind of violence, which he's, again, in this film, no one dies. Nobody.
No, that's true.
Yeah, and so like the whole this film is not designed to be the what you expect. I mean, I know he's done Bridge of Spies and stuff like that, but like the whole espionage spy kind of theme, he's not really trying to say, yeah, and that's corruptible or that's like bad for humanity. He's just saying there is violence. But I just liked how the opening was like bludgeoning you in the face with like even though it's got the subtlety of a Spielberg film, it's like, hey, here's some stuff that I'm going to shove down your face.
Literal bread and circuses.
Yeah,
it's a circus
exactly.
performance.
Exactly, it's all circus, and like what are the real stuff is happening in the cheap seats. Yeah, I also like the retrospective alien doc footage that we get. So when Disclosure Day occurs, it's the big announcement to the world. Everyone's on their phones, on the subways and whatnot, having a collective moment for humanity. And it's so funny because he's got these magic flash drives that look super cool, and he's got like 600 of them, and he has to like upload all of them, and like that's the ticking clock at one point.
I felt like you could have gotten like one really big external hard drive.
That's
why did you need fucking 70 thumb drives?
It's funny because, filmmakers work in data, so you know that there was a digital imaging technician on set who was like, this is not how I would do this, and I deal, like, my whole job is I deal with data and hard drives. You just have duplicates, but you also have it all in one place. Anyway, that's, again, nitpicking. But I love how when they do play the retrospective where it's like, here's all the moments that from Aliens of the history, like a fucking memorial, we killed all these, we did a genocide. It's so funny because there's so many that are like trying to cue you into the era that it occurred very quickly, because it's a montage, so it's got to keep moving, right? It's got to be snappy, and so it's like Roswell is black and white, and we're like, oh, and then on the slate it says Roswell, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, exactly, and then it's like the 70s and 80s, and there's like a porn stash and like disco balls. In the 2000s, the aliens have tramp stamps. It's that kind of,
aliens like driving cigarette boats in the 80s.
So I get why it's laughable. I get why people watch that sequence and they're like, "This is silly," because it is. Because it is. It is designed to be like. You ever watch The Fountain?
Yeah.
You ever watch Cloud Atlas? You ever watch these films that are like biting off more than they can chew a little bit? They're like, oh, in the end, I was one with all of eternity. It has that vibe of this where it's like, and then all the information flowed and everyone saw the truth in the right way, which is not how it actually operates. But it is funny because in order to send that message as a storyteller, Spielberg and company had to kind of make it happen quick for you, and that's laughable. So there's that.
It is like, I know there would be slates in there, because these old reels aren't labeled. How else this? So there's all sorts of practical reasons for the slates to be in there, and it's just funny. It's just funny to watch. It's just funny to see something Roswell. It's like, oh, I guess I know where I am.
I guess
now. We're in Roswell.
Yeah, I guess. And then I love it when it does like the non-famous stuff where it's just like, this is just footage of like some
that was the
Russian
coolest stuff. Like some of that was like
mimicking
you had the POV,
footage.
Yeah, that huge thing kind of turning out. It reminded me of the scene in Jaws when he kills Alex Kittner when the shark's fin kind of rolls. It's like all you see the edge of it, but then all of a sudden this massive thing turns through the cloud. And you're like, I would shit if I was flying that plane.
Yeah, where it's like, yeah, if you're flying a plane, you're like, I
The
didn't
UFO
think I was
stuff is
going to run
great,
into
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I'm going to run into this. And I'm dead. That feeling is like also design, like it's demanding your senses engage in it, right? Like as a viewer. So you're like dealing with that, but you're also dealing with the lore dump that's all collected into the 5-minute sequence that we're talking about. And it doesn't feel fulfilling because it's just scattered images of truth, quote unquote. And I understand how, from a screenwriter position, an audience that has the expectation of what blockbusters are, it's sloppy. It is. It is sloppy.
I think the footage should have been harder to hit his point more.
Yeah.
But that was, that's Spielberg being safe, I guess.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
There was one shot I wanted to call out. There was a shot of Josh O'Connor when he's revealing that he doesn't have any memories before a certain point as a kid, and he really wants to get him back, and Emily Blunt's going to help him do that. And it's not mimicking, but it's similar to a shot from Fabelmans, the shot of Paul Dano, where it's where he sees the photograph of his wife having moved on with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a low angle shot of him, and you can see the empty corner of the ceiling behind him, where it's just this complete white space behind him. And he's just holding the photo, and he's dumbstruck, like he's blown away. Nothing behind him. He's gone. And they do a similar shot with Josh O'Connor where he's on the phone having this conversation, but it's dark
in the
now,
farmhouse.
so it's all. I think it's either in the farmhouse or the motel, but it's dark now, and you can see that same like corner of the ceiling behind him, but it's dark, and it's occasionally broken by light as cars are driving by through the window. So it's like, oh, his memory is coming back, and that blasted out space. So it was an interesting way to sort of take the same idea of that shot and repeat it, but do it differently. So at a different point was made by it. I don't know. I just saw this. Oh, I really liked that shot in Fabelmans.
Let's go into that. Let's talk about a little bit more of the crowd.
That, I guess. Yeah.
Let's go into a section where I want to talk about the collaboration here, just real quick. This one is called "Teamwork Makes the Dream Works" XKG. So this is the 21st collaboration between Steven Spielberg and the cinematographer and DP Janusz Kaminski, which is almost challenges Michael Kahn and John Williams. Although John Williams, I think, is the OP 30th
collaboration.
Geez, 50 years. But yeah, Janusz Kaminski kind of hopped on in Saving Private Ryan, and then he's there. There was a few shots that I was like, yeah, these guys are fucking cooking. One of the ones is, I think it was pointed out by Swayman Dave, where she's in the hospital, and like they're now trying to find Emily Blunt, and they send, and there's a bald guy in the other side of the window, and she, like, the first moment in this film where she's like reading people, like psychically, like gets in his brain, she literally walks into his reflection of the back of his head, so that he's bald and has no details, but it's a head with ears, but all of the details are her face. So it's like you just see a constructed face in front of you. Cool stuff like that. The oneer where she arrives
late.
Oh my God,
that's a crazy
that
one.
oneer is so fun.
Yeah,
she's killing it. Camera's killing it. It goes on way longer than you even know.
There's so many people in that shot.
It's anyway, I just wanted to point out Janusz Kaminski, and of course the boy,
Stevie.
the Berg, fucking killing it still.
Yeah, the chase stuff is all really cool too. Yeah, Janusz, obviously. We mentioned it's the 30th collaboration with John Williams, his composer. We mentioned Spielberg is 79. John Williams is 94.
That is...
right?
That's too old.
His score is interesting in this movie. It's very understated.
He's retired, by the way.
I know.
He's publicly said, I'm retired. and Stevie fucking pulled him back.
Pulled his ass out. We commented on that.
6 months he spent on this score. So he had nothing to do.
Yeah.
He was just enjoying his retirement. And then Stevie was like, hey, I want one more. And he's like,
last
you got
ride?
it, baby. You got it, baby.
Yeah.
I'm fucking old as hell.
It's a really understated John Williams score, but very classic John Williams.
It has all the keynotes, I think.
Yeah.
This is the 5th collaboration between Stevie and Kep. Obviously, if I'm remembering correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Jurassic Park, Lost World, War of the Worlds, and Indiana Jones with the Crystal Skull, I think are the... And then this one, being the 5th. Yeah. I think we mentioned... A lot of people, we've kind of thrown a lot of shade at the concepts of media response to this film being lower than expected. We were kind of heralding earlier, it's pretty good though, but also at the same time admitting that it has large problems. You know,
I would definitely, it's definitely mid for Spielberg for sure.
I think it is.
It's mid.
I think that it's got high highs, but it's also got low lows.
Yeah.
This is the people don't, I think, because Backrooms, because Obsession, because the summer of 2026 has a narrative to it already.
Yeah.
And this came out last weekend. I want to point at some box office details that are going to probably surprise everyone who's listening to this.
Oh yeah, this is crazy. You were telling me this before we started recording.
Yeah. This is the 5th largest opening weekend at box office for Steven Spielberg.
That's crazy.
That's like, we talk about pandemic. I've had the vibe where I'm like, I go to movies and there's not a lot of people here. These things are dying. I'm not saying that's not true in mass, but like there is a palpable energy right now.
Something's happening this summer. Yeah.
People want to go to movies, and I think
they want to go to new ones, specifically.
Gen Z has to be, I think, kind of a part of that, obviously, but that excitement is a little bit back, and I kind of felt it in the audience I was at. I don't know about you, but like it was packed. Granted, we're in Los Angeles and we have all the, it's a movie town. The other one that I wanted to mention specifically because I don't think word of mouth is gonna, like, I still think Backrooms and Obsession, obviously, because they've already made double, triple what this has made because they've been out for 3 weeks, but like that's gonna be the narrative. That's gonna be the takeaway. But I was surprised to read that this is the fastest opening to $100 million in an opening weekend, and they did it on Saturday for an original movie in 2 decades.
What was the last one to do it?
I don't know. It was like Shrek or some shit. Like it's overwhelming how fast this people went to this, and I don't know if it's going to sustain. But I have seen a lot of think pieces that are like, it's definitely not going to sustain. No one's talking about this film. And I'm just like, maybe it's because I'm an old crotchety man who does love Spielberg films. But I am definitely in, like, let's hold off. This is kind of a wide-ranging success thus far. So
yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Same production designer as West Side Story, Ready Player One, and Bridge of Spies, which that was the only other major multiple returning collaborator that I noticed.
The last summer release by Steven Spielberg was in 2016
for the Buffug?
For the BFG? Yeah.
Man.
Isn't that wild? That means
is crazy.
This is the first film that Spielberg, this kind of does feel like I'm done, like summer release, he's Mr. Summer Release, and he hasn't done it in a fucking decade. That's wild.
Man.
That's weird, wild stuff.
Yeah, right, and we were sort of, I wonder if that is just, I think we're just so, it's crazy to look at a movie that was having like a $40 million Friday. It's sort of, I don't know, we're so like Marvel brained. I guess you sort of don't take notice how huge that is for a movie to have a opening day $40 million. Like, well, it wasn't It didn't do fucking 80 like the Ant-Man movie, so it's a flop. I don't know. It's interesting.
And also, I do want to point out this budget is pretty obnoxious.
What was the budget? Because it felt kind of small.
Yeah, I don't know what. Because they, I think, built houses and stuff. They did a lot of production. Yeah. 115 million.
Okay. I was figuring.
Kind of high for what I actually see. Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of tech, and there's a lot of digital effects.
Yeah. That's about what I expected.
Okay. I thought it was a little high. Yeah, I was if I had no information and I walked out of the theater, I would have said 80, 90 million. But 115 is pretty rough.
That's a little high, yeah.
Conventional wisdom is kind of you have to double your money in order for, because
at least
box office has to account for not just budget, but marketing, all that stuff.
And also distribution. You have to pay to have
keep it going.
These movies in theaters, yeah.
Also, ad budgets are not often that's not included in the budget, and this had an 80 million
oof
thing. Yeah, which is, I mean, do you know what the Odyssey? We don't have the numbers for, but I'd say that the Odyssey numbers, marketing for the Odyssey at this point, not to even mention Avengers Doomsday, whatever the fuck they're doing, but the Odyssey is probably over 150 million just in marketing.
I'm sure,
which is insane.
Well, we see a lot of these Marvel movies will hit 200 million in marketing spend.
Exactly.
So
that's probably true.
Temples.
Right, but that was at the height.
That was at the height, yeah.
In any case, it's going to have another great weekend in order to be solvent. And that might not be true. I don't know if word of mouth is going to really... Anyway. What's the last thing? Oh, I wanted to say just a joke that I thought of. Because I think there's a moment... Because the whole finale of the movie is... the last word in the movie is listen.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't disclose. Because we've been disclosing the whole time. So it's not like you're going to show you what the aliens said.
That was what they said.
That is what they said.
That is what they said. Listen.
But the whole point is that we got all the chess pieces in, the right spots. And the big alien whispers into the hot Josh boy.
Mm-hmm. He whispers O'Connor's math into Josh O'Connor's ear.
Yeah,
he translates
and
the
then
math.
He translates the math to Emily Blunt, who then gives this listen, everybody. And we're like, what did the aliens say? And I just thought the best ending, or what you could do is, because there's literally a frame where it's whispering into his ear, you could just put a subtitle. And I think the best thing that subtitle should be is bring me your 5 best basketball players. Let's do a Space Jam, everyone. All right.
It just
do you have
leans
anything
in.
else?
Yo, what is this
you have
alien
such an
doing?
Opportunity. I don't know how, I understand spoilers, but that's gonna be a meme, right?
Of course, yeah, with the whispers here. I mean, the first first thing that popped into my mind, it's a Hackney joke at this point, but jet fuel can't melt steel.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did 9/11.
Fucking reticulans did 9/11.
Or just saying some racist shit. I don't even know the kind of you're being racist against a different alien species that I am not even aware of, man.
Bro, I'm totally face mogging you right
yeah.
now.
Oh God. All right. Is there anything else you want to do before we hit our final?
We can
statement?
Close this one out. Yeah.
Let's close this one out. This is a lot of fun. So the final section, we're just doing jokes here. You're at the you're at the edge of the iceberg here. We call this Close Encounters of the Word Kind. And this is where we say log lines that are true technically that make the film sound like they're crap.
These are terrible log lines. Everyone.
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with one. In a staggering piece of science fiction, Fox News airs a whistleblower report.
Fox News.
Waka waka.
Waka waka. Here's my first. A bird teaches lady Russian.
It just beams it right into her skull,
beams it right into her skull and then leaves. Oh, yeah. all the aliens are birds, and
Yeah, that's right. We forgot that. Yeah, they're all animals in disguise. That was a freaky idea.
which is just really funny for Spielberg to be like, and all the animals are aliens.
They're all aliens watching us all the time. Okay, here's my next one. Aliens should stop coming here.
Yeah. It's like,
Why do they keep coming, man? Shit. Decade after decade, it's like, go to a different planet.
Probably aliens exist. They're just like, nah,
No.
I'm good. Here's my next one. A train conductor decides that he is just over it. Look, he's got to get this train from point A to point B, and whatever happens, it's really not his problem.
Nobody on that train reacts when they plow into a sedan.
For like 18 miles, there's a
Just
car
dragging
attached,
this train.
and there's just some sleepy conductor over there who's like, that's their problem, that's not my problem.
Okay, this one is sung. She seems to have an invisible fire truck. She had an invisible fire truck.
A bunch of deer and birds steal a young child from her bed.
A DJ gets stranded in Illinois.
Yeah.
She just leaves Wyatt Russell at a gas station in Decatur. I think that's in Illinois.
And we see him for a shot in the movie when he's like, oh, she did it.
I guess she was talking to aliens.
But yeah, he's kind of fridged, which is fine. He's not a part of this. He served his purpose.
He served his purpose.
A cop fails to give a ticket and has a mental breakdown. That cop, I don't know why that cop is at that news station at the end. He's like, I've been waiting for you, Emily
Probably
Blunt.
to give her all of his life savings because she read his mind and told him how to fix his marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my last one is Escape to Witch Mountain.
That's actually a really good joke. It's
Thank you.
2 movies and 3 movies, technically.
Hey.
Here's my last one, and then we're out. Aliens give 2 children powers. The boy gets science. The girl gets emotions. Just like the director's parents.
Oh.
That's Fableman's all the whole time. It's all the way
He was
down.
Fablemaning us.
2 Fablemans in a trench coat. Hey, man.
2 Fablemen.
I love Talkin' Stevie.
Me too. I'm sad there's no more.
I don't know if there's going to be another.
There might
so
not
it kind of
be.
feels bittersweet, but hey, we'll log back in if he's got another one in the chamber.
If he's got something else cooking up, we'll boy it for you.
I love him.
Yeah, we
I
love
love
him in
you,
this
brother.
house. I love you too,
Yeah.
man. We gotta do this. Do this some
A
more.
shared love language of movies.
We gotta
What a
find
time to be alive.
we gotta find somebody else to boy about.
Yeah. Yeah. More on that later, I
But
guess.
until then, we are Spielboys.
Spielboys watching Stevie's movies. Spielboys watching Stevie's movies. Spielboys watching Stevie's movies. Spielboys.